Welcome to Bella Nonna Design Studio. We are excited to show you our Block of the Month quilt called Hostas. Today we will show you how to create the small Hosta blocks like these. There are 16 of them. We will do one today. To begin with, we're going to do the S4, the small 4 block, which is this one. And I have laid out here the pieces all cut, the background piece with the shape flex and the hosta piece, the leaf, and then the little center part. So what we need to do first is place on the wrong side of the fabric, we place the shape flex. Now we've cut the block 1 inch bigger. It's 9 by 11 cut. It will end up being finished 8 by 10. But we cut the shape flex 8 by 10 because we don't want a bunch of extra fabric in the seam allowance. Place it on the wrong side of the fabric, bumpy side down. Now the shape flex is a beautiful piece to use because it is woven and it will really help stabilize your blocks. Okay, we're at the ironing board now. And we have our shape flex on the back side of our batik fabric, and we're going to iron it with a dry iron and fuse it to the back side. And as you are stitching your blocks on and doing the outline, the vein outline stitching, it keeps it very, very secure. It doesn't warp the block. Okay, now we have the fabrics for the leaf and the center part of the leaf. They're right side down on the ironing board, and now I'm going to place my Misty Fuse that I've cut just a little bit smaller on top of the wrong side of each piece of fabric. Cutting them just a little bit smaller keeps you from getting the Misty Fuse on your iron or on your ironing board cover. And I place the sheet, the pressing sheet, over the top. Take a dry iron and fuse this Misty Fuse to the back side of the blocks. Misty Fuse is a very, very lightweight, and I love it. It just feels like almost nothing. We've let it cool, so now we can peel it back and see that the fusible is stuck very nicely to the back of the fabric pieces. Now we're going to cut out our leaves. I have rough cut the pieces out of the pattern, which is the leaf and the center and the stem. I left this dotted stem on here just to show you that it's a placement line for you, as well as the placement line here for the center where it goes. So I'll just finish rough cutting out the top edge of this. And we will pin it on the fabric. Also remember, we have to save room for our stem, and we have to get that on the fabric too. So just a quick little pin here and there to hold it in place. And then we cut them out. Also, a lot of these fabrics, I'll just mention, are directional. This one in particular is not, but the background is, and I've cut it out so it will be vertical instead of horizontal. And also this center fabric is directional. So that's something to keep in mind while you are cutting out your fabrics and deciding how you're going to place your pattern piece on the fabric. Okay, here we go. Start to cut. Cut out on the black line. And one thing I will tell you right now is we strive for loveliness, not perfection. In nature, nothing is totally symmetrical or perfect, and that's what makes it so charming. So if you do a little cut that's not perfect or a little stitch that's not perfect, we're happy with it. You do want to place the pattern on top of the right side of the fabric. The Misty Fuse is on the back. We don't have to reverse the pattern pieces on this. So that's one reason why I love Misty Fuse, besides the fact that it is so pliable. Look at that. Can't even tell it's on the back. So first of all, we'll place the leaf on the background. Now there's a very detailed information in your pattern that shows you how to place each leaf. As you can see here, the leaves, the small leaves, go different directions. Now this one is coming up from the bottom and pointing kind of up to that corner. So that's how we'll place it. Place the leaf on the background fabric, and then we're going to place the center on. Now your pattern shows you where to place it, and it just pretty much points right down the center of the leaf. Now we will not put on the stem till we're done stitching the leaf, so we have to set the stems aside. We have our leaves fused onto the background block now, so it's time to draw our lines for stitching the veins in the leaf. I've chosen a piece of clover tracing paper and the wheel. And then we take our pattern piece, and it has all the lines on it for us, which is really helpful. So we place the pattern on top of the leaf, and what I like to do is I like to pin down one side of the leaf pattern to hold it in place, and then we just slide this colored side down. That's where you're going to get your tracing lines, colored side down, and you just begin rolling with this little edge here, and you roll up and over to the center and stop. Go to the next one, roll up, over to the center and stop. Keep doing that all the way up. You get the veins on one side of the leaf, and then we'll reverse the process and do it on the other side of the leaf. This is really slick because then you know exactly where to stitch your veins, and also these little lines will come out. They're not real easy to see on the camera, but they'll show up just fine when you're sitting at your sewing machine stitching. So I'm going to pin on the other side, the side we just did, unpin the side we haven't done, and just reverse the process. Slide this under a little bit past the center line and roll. You have to put some pressure into it. It just makes a little dotted line. And following them around. Sometimes you go off the line a little bit, but you know what? Your eye is pretty good when you're stitching. You can always make the line go a little differently as you're stitching if you think it'll look better a different way. Now, before you take it off, don't forget to do the center vein right up the middle. Now, it's ready to go to the sewing machine and stitch.